going back to the already being related conversations. So when you say what you guys say, it puts it out here away from you. When you put something out here away from you like that, it gets you off the hook from looking into your own life. And actually looking at, what are my commitments? And man, if I did have these commitments, what kind of power would I have? Who's following me here? You following that? Now you're super coachable. That's why I can have this conversation with you.
Yeah, well, there's just certain words that sometimes I get how you guys mean it. You know, I get it.
Just say how I mean it.
Oh, I get how in the teaching it is meant.
Yeah.
Okay? I get how in the teaching it is meant, but when I think of that word, I think something completely different. So.
What do you think? What do you think?
When I think of power?
No.
Or
What word would you put there?
I don't have the exact perfect word, but
Well.
I just, like, when I'm thinking of, like, when we're, the examples that they were using, to me it was more like supporting each other.
Okay, that's definitely part of it, and you get power from supporting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to invite you to do something, okay? Can I do that? Thank you. So, try.
I'm not rejecting it.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Try on what I'm saying. Without your own opinions about it, or, I put in this word or that word, or this sounds better. Just try it on. And see what that makes available to you. You can go back later and pick up your opinions. If you discovered the damage they were doing in your life, you may not want to. But you can. Again, I'm not saying that anything is the truth.
Yeah, I just thought I would ask. I was just having a difficult.
Good, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's try it on. Yeah. It's like that jacket. If it doesn't fit, take it off. Okay? Awesome. All right, see now, Laura. Okay, so where am I here? Okay, so if you look at the spaces on the board there, so there's something that's still missing. These two levels are very effective. They produce a lot of results, get a lot of things done, but there's something that's missing. So, hold on one second. I'll ask you right now. What would add an extraordinary quality to the relationship that would cause a real breakthrough? Love. Okay, good. Bonnie.
I was going to say action. You got goals.
Okay, quality though.
Quality.
Yeah.
Intention.
Okay, intention, Cindy.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Possibility.
Possibility.
Enrollment.
Enrollment. Artie.
Attraction.
Attraction. Okay, great. I love all those. So, I'm going to summarize those with these two words. Inspiration and aliveness. When you can get stuff done, but maybe there's not inspiration or aliveness there. So where would you need to design a partnership from to have the spaces of inspiration and aliveness present? Fine.
Possibilities
Possibility, yeah. Are you going in?
and conversation.
Conversation, Rob?
Empty and meaningless.
Empty and meaningless, very, I like that one, very good. Not that I didn't like yours, Bonnie.
Oh, you're showing favors on the rest.
But yes, Bonnie, it is possibilities. Okay, so when partnerships are designed from goals and commitments, people tend to get just so focused on what they're aiming for, and they fail to be fully present. So the last level of partnership we're creating is designed from possibility. Standing inside a possibility, you can then design the commitments and the goals of that partnership. So, the biggest picture is the possibility. What's the possibility of that partnership, of that relationship? Inside of that possibility, then you have particular commitments you're making. And inside of those commitments, you have specific measurable goals you're out to accomplish. Okay, so then what do? When you create a possibility, you enroll others in your having gotten that possibility. The space would be very different if you walked into your office when you're creating the possibility of connection and fulfillment versus just going there trying to get 10 clients that week. You see how those two conversations create two different worlds? Who doesn't see that? Okay, good. Okay, so let's make this real in your life. So pick one relationship to work on. Okay? And you're going to use your notebooks. If you haven't been writing down, you're going to use them now. So pick one relationship in your life. Write that person on the top of the page. Write down a possibility you could create for that relationship as a partnership. What's a possibility you could create for that relationship as a partnership? Give me a few. Write down, speculate a few. Scott?
Being 100% complete with them.
Okay, great. Yeah, being 100% complete. Keep speculating. Once you write a few down. And even think bigger than that. What's a possibility you could create if that one was complete? This is the time to think really big. Because again, the bigger the possibility, the more commitments you have inside, the more goals inside the commitments. Okay, just shout out a couple possibilities that you're creating in this partnership. Having fun together. And Lucy, if you were having fun together, what would that provide? that's where I want you to look. Look big like that. Okay, so if you were having fun together, then what's the possibility? Yeah, Bob?
Have surrendered to each other completely and unconditionally.
Totally got that. Awesome. Yeah, Rob?
Bravery, love.
Bravery, love, and completion? Yeah, awesome. Yep, Ethan.
It's abundance and health and well-being.
Very good. Mike?
Possibility of a lifetime of love.
Possibility of a lifetime of love. That's great. Really good. Okay, so pick one of the possibilities we wrote down for partnership in that relationship. And if you look, you can create many things inside of that possibility, right? You can create a lot of commitments inside of that possibility. You can create a lot of goals inside of that possibility. Inside of that possibility, you and your partner can create different things. Okay, so now write down possibilities and ways of being for yourself that you could bring to that partnership. So, what ways of being inside of the possibility could you bring to that specific partnership? Okay, who would like to share what you created? Yeah? Is that like a half? Come on up. Yeah. Just go right there. It's right there. You'll be fine. They're not that scary. Even though...
It was just short, but I didn't...
Go ahead, yeah, say it short. So what are you creating?
Love, fun, and trust.
Awesome, awesome. And see possibility of love, fun, and trust.
Compassion.
Yeah, great. No, really great. Yeah, I'm just looking at what ways of being are you bringing to that, and you're bringing compassion. Yeah. Anything else? There might not be. I'm just checking in.
Friendship.
Very good. Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about? You want to say? Totally fine if you don't want to say it.
With someone, who...
Are they in the room?
No.
Oh, okay. What are we worried about? Start creating right now.
With someone who I have a romantic relationship with.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, I won't ask you anymore. All right, Frida. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, share with your partner now. What are you creating from this conversation? What's that relationship you're taking on? What's the possibility, okay? About a minute each. Ready, go.
Begin to wrap it up. Begin to wrap it up.
Okay, I wasn't clear on which section.
And acknowledge your partner. All right. Okay, one of your assignments, come on back. One of your assignments is going to be to create one partnership within a relationship based on possibility. Okay? So you're going to be working on this. It's weird that I have this? It's weird for me. Okay. Stand up and stretch. What's that? Not yet. He's getting like a hobby. One of those yeah, yeah. You know, it's gonna be fine. It's like he's still the outward for a little bit. Like, why do I have to walk over here? All right, take your seats. All right, come on back. New conversation. Hello. How's it going?
raise your hand if you're present. Okay. Let's see if there's everybody. No? Not Joe?
Not at the moment,
Okay.
now I am.
Okay, good. All right. Cool. So we're going to have a conversation. We're going to take a look at it into a deeper, we're going to look deeper into the role of enrollment in relationships. So, have you ever noticed that what we do in relationships is we work on ourselves, or work on changing ourselves, or we work on the other person, or changing the other person? Who's ever noticed that?
Except in those 2 life points.
Okay, insightful. So, you know, we try to resolve something, or we try to decide something, and then we implement that thing, like, I'm never going to nag you again, or I will always remember your birthday, or things are going to get better, I promise. Does anybody have these kind of conversations? Okay. So, Bonnie said, just today. So if I wanted to naturally express love, partnership, and romance, what would I have to actually alter? This is an inquiry, so don't expect to say the right answer.
Maybe yourself.
Arati.
Language.
Language, okay? Rob.
I was going to say you have to alter yourself.
You have to alter yourself? Okay, that's interesting, because hang on to that one, because I think it's all going to connect back. Cindy. Where you're coming from? Caroline? Your expectations? Ely? You have to alter how much you complain? Yeah. Let's look. What would I actually have to alter for a relationship to alter? What is your name? Jasmine. Communication? Alyssa? Your point of view. You're like so burning hot. That is like the closest answer. We're all in the ballpark, by the way. No one has had it like way up yet. Jeanette? Acceptance. So, yeah, Nazila? Okay, I'll do these last 3. What's that?
Thoughts?
You have to alter your thoughts. You actually have very little access to that, right? How many people have ever tried altering their thoughts? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Much more actionable, right? The way you look at things. We're really warming up here to something. Chris. Context. Really good. Okay, so what you'd have to alter is your view of the world. See, you know, we think that the world is the way we see it. How many people think the world is the way they see it? Yeah. Duh. If you're not raising your hand, you're lying to yourself, okay? And not only do we think, it's not like a thought for us though. We don't think the world is the way we see it. We actually really have it like that is the way the world is. And it makes perfect sense that it looks that way because you cannot see the world without you in it. And you can't see you without you in the world. So in a sense, they very much really are inseparable. But it is just a view. And it's the view of the world that gives you everything you see. And that view exists where? What is the house of that view? Arati. You said it earlier. Say the right answer. Language, yes. The house of how you see it all is actually in language. See, how you see everything only occurs that way because of the language you add to it. Who's with me? Okay. Who can give it back to me? Or give me an example from your life where that's how it goes. Bonnie, would you go to the mic?
Oh, I was just saying, how you see the world is...
Would you go to sit with the mic? Thank you.
How you see the world is how you language it, how you say it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Great. And do you want to like do the bonus question? In your life, where can you see that's the case?
be one of those things.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
How many people just caught that? Like, that is that the
Yeah,
truth? That
that's
like
not the
there's
truth.
some mechanical gene that people have that we
Yeah.
cut you open and could look for and not find?
That's right, yeah, I think the truth is I don't really have much interest in mechanical things or figuring out stuff and stuff like that.
So even that is language.
That's language too, that's true.
Have you ever noticed that you talk about, I'll give you an example from my own life, really, and then you'll see it, I mean, everybody is already starting to see it. When I was in 3rd grade, we had intramural sports, which is a very fancy way of saying at lunchtime we played games that were assigned to us. Kickball was one of them, and then wacko is like this tennis racket baseball. Anyway, the point is, I was last to get picked often, like almost always. And I decided I don't like sports. But there's actually no reality to whether I like sports or not. It's just a decision I made,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And then I hang on to that decision, but it's all in language as it happens.
exactly,
You made a decision somewhere, you're not very mechanical.
right,
You don't find it very interesting.
right.
What else? What else in relationships?
In relationships with people, you mean?
Those kind of relationships.
It's all a little longer of a question. Well, I see people being critical or judgmental, and when I see that they're judgmental, I have really difficulty being myself.
Okay, so we're gonna take it again, but in slow motion.
Okay.
So nothing's wrong,
Okay.
just relax. So something happens, and already you see that something that happened as critical or judgmental.
Right.
Someone else standing right next to you, looking at the very same thing, could see something completely different.
Right.
And you see critical and judgmental.
Right.
And then your planning, thinking, and acting,
Reacting.
okay, comes from
Yeah.
how you saw that, but not just how you saw it, but the language you added to what you saw.
Right. You know, for instance, like standing and was in trouble being with all of you with the mic, and I used to get so made fun of in school when I went from public school to Catholic school, and because I wasn't really much paying attention. And then they would ask me a question, and I'd answer wrong, and everybody'd laugh, and they'd make fun of me and stuff like that, and you know, it's just a lot of that over and over again.
So it's not just that those things happen, it's like the classic example from the Landmark Forum, 2 circles. It's not just what happened,
Yeah.
it's all the language you added to what happened. And then
Yeah.
for you, it lives like that is what
Is
happened.
that is, yeah.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Really great. All right, let's acknowledge that. So you're starting to get a sense of the occurring world. The way the world occurs is not the world, but it's the way it occurs. Yes? Is anybody unclear? Okay, great. So, if I wanted to actually impact the way the world occurs for someone else, like Doug and I are in some sort of relationship, and I want to impact the way I occur for him, or the way some situation occurs for him, what is my access to doing that? Language, good answer. So, another way to say that, a conversation, yeah. What kind of conversation actually impacts the occurring world? What kind of conversation actually impacts? Wow, how many people already knew that? Enrollment, yeah, really great. So over here it says, in the Landmark Forum you will bring forth the presence of a new realm of possibility for yourself and your life. It says, the constraints the past imposes on your view of life disappear. A new view of life emerges. That view of life emerges in enrollment conversations. How I know that that's the way the Landmark Forum works is because over here the board says, the way the Landmark Forum works. And then it says, you can have any result for yourself or your life that you invent as a possibility, and enroll others in your having gotten. So that, another way to say that same sentence is, you can have any result for yourself or your life that you invent and have conversations with others that shift their point of view. Because enrollment is causing a new possibility to be present for another, such that they are touched, moved, and inspired by that possibility. So I have a conversation with you where I'm authentic about something that I've been inauthentic about. And when I do that, and I share with you the impact it's had on me and the impact it's had on you, a piece of the past gets taken out from between us and put back in the past. And when that happens, the way you see me alters. And, or, the way you see life alters. Does that make sense? Who has an actual example from their actual life of having done this? Caroline, and then Rob, and then Cindy, and then me. And then we'll see. So we got to keep them brief because I called a lot of people at once. Yeah, great, thank you.
So two things, actually. So
Sure.
one is that I just finally got with positive affirmations at work because it's just stuff I'm telling myself.
Oh, let's say it again, because everybody needs to hear that.
Like, why? So I'll sit and read in the morning, and it's like, okay, gotta give up this story that I don't deserve it and create a new one, but I don't share it. It just sits there, and then like, I'm duh, right? So, an example of how reality shifted was actually this weekend with my grandmother. So she's 96, and she's tired, right? And how I've been relating to her is this thing to handle. Like, your body's getting older, it's, you know, very practical, right? Like, it's time to go. And I saw her this weekend, and usually I'll take my kids and it's crazy, and this time I just went with her, and she doesn't really remember who I am. And so we shared, but what she did like to do was look through this photo album of her whole life. And what I got present to was my grandmother, who, she introduced my brother and I, and so that shifted everything, and I started to cry, and she was looking at me like, I don't know what you're doing, but I said, do you know why I'm crying? And she goes, no. And I said, because I love you. And she says, well, I love you too. And that was like coming from within her. And so that like completely shifted my paradigm, and how, like now when I think of her, I think of my grandmother again, and not like this thing that my mom has, like this circumstance to handle.
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for? Is that?
I mean, that doesn't matter what I look for. The only, that's fine. The nuance is different. Yeah, no, you're right on, I mean, it's like.
So how it had been occurring for me was like my grandmother, like she wasn't my grandmother anymore. She was this like 96-year-old thing to deal with. Right?
So, I'm just gonna add some like milestones in that conversation. You know, the whole conversation's there. At some point, you got authentic about where you had been being inauthentic.
Yeah.
Like it was inauthentic to relate to her as
Just this thing.
just this thing, this problem to handle. And you got that authentically. What there was is she's actually, when in fact she's
My grandmother.
yeah, your grandmother who you love and adore and have this special bond with. Now, I would say the only thing that's missing is when she said, "Why are you crying?" You had maybe more to say than what you said.
Yeah.
Like there's some inauthenticity that you kind of maybe left for later. And you can say to her, listen, I want to be straight with you about something. And have that conversation.
I see what you're saying, and where she is right now mentally,
Yeah.
that was enough,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
it was like years ago, thank you, everything, like I really got who she was, and I mean, maybe there is, but just in that moment, like that was everything.
Yeah. Got it. Fair.
Isn't that like the difference between having an inherited and sharing? Like, this is that, we've been talking about, like, you're sharing.
Yeah, you know what? Rather than doing it this way, and we're not doing this, Tommy, hang on. Because it doesn't work for like everybody to be the coach at the same time. So I'm just going to say what you said so that everybody gets the benefit of it. So, I mean, you might consider looking at, and I don't know what you mean with at her stage in life or her mental capacity.
She
or,
doesn't even know who I am.
Gotcha.
She doesn't, like, she
Right.
has trouble formulating words. So for her to say back, I love you too, and get that was a miracle.
Sure. Clear.
Get that?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, and, you know, I'm just honoring what you said, and so I'm just saying it for the benefit of everybody. Don't let yourself off the hook. You know, don't let yourself off the hook saying, well, I know the impact of it and that's enough. Now in this particular case, it may be complete, or may be appropriate to just have that conversation with someone else, like you just did. This, by the way, is an enrollment conversation.
Yeah.
So, you know, Lisa could have some discovery about how she's been making her husband wrong, and turn to her friend Chris and say, oh my gosh, I just had this realization that hit me. For the last 10 years, I've been relating to X as true, and X is not even true.
Right.
So whenever you're authentic about where you've been being inauthentic, and you bring it out into the world, then it shifts the occurring world. And the more you share it, like you've done now with 70 people, the more real for you it is.
Yeah.
The more your grandmother is your grandmother for you, and the less something for you to handle she is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I shared it with my husband and my mom, and like they saw whatever they saw, but every time I speak, it's alive.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Cool. Hang on just one second. I just want to make sure everybody's caught up to that. So, the way back, it's here. Yep, let's say it again. So it says enrollment is causing a new possibility to be present for another, such that they are touched, moved, and inspired by that possibility. And the results you get out of your participation, by the way, results you could think of as your life. The life you get out of participating is a product of possibilities you invent and enrolling others, and you're having gotten. You got those possibilities and you enroll others in them. That completes a piece of the past, and it opens up a new future, a whole new occurring world. Go for it.
So for me, this revolves around my mom. I had a story in my head where, like, you all remember like those earthquake survival kits that they made you do in elementary school, where it's like a bag and it's got like granola bar and Kleenex and stuff like that. Every time I saw my mom, she would give me one of those, and like it's into my I'm like 30, right, and she still gives me those. So in my head, it was like she just doesn't think that I'm like an adult, like I'm capable of surviving, and it was like a point of like frustration. It's like kind of resented it after a while, and it took me like being out of state and like reflecting back on like, hey, why is this a thing? Why do I have so many of these Ziploc bags everywhere? And to realize that like I almost died a few times as a kid. I forgot about it, but like it happened like 2 or 3 times in a row. And it wasn't that she doesn't trust that I'll make it on my own. It's just like, you know, she's still trying to protect me. And it was so weird that I got my entire life being resentful about it. You know? So that was kind of my shit.
And did you have a conversation with her?
Yeah, I did, like,
What did you
immediately
say?
after.
What did you say?
Yeah, it was like, Mom, I just found one of your bags again. And I get it. I finally get why you're doing that. I've been making you wrong for like not treating me like an adult, but the reality of the situation is like you care and you want to take care of me, and like that's why you give me these over and over again. You just want to make sure that I can survive.
What'd she say?
I don't remember. It's been a few months, but I remember there was a shift in the relationship from that point on.
Yeah. That's great. That exactly highlights the point that you took something that was between you out of the way, put it back in the past, and then something new was available between you that wasn't available before. Yeah. Really great, Rob. Thank you. I'm going to be coached now. Oh, I'm not going to be coached.
So in the last couple of weeks of dealing with kind of circumstances in life, some new things.
Just say where they are, because people don't always listen. Just say it
I
again.
didn't hear before.
I know you said it before, and I promise you, some people
Okay.
come into the room that weren't here and so forth.
Okay. Of dealing with my husband in the hospital and now in the nursing care. And of needing to let everyone know, of bringing him things, requested things every day, doing everything at home that needed to be done. I was just totally in overwhelm and alone. So I realized that I needed to have conversations with both of my children. One is 3,000 miles away, the other one is local. And I needed to speak to my son who's local and change the occurring from, okay, you don't get along with your dad, and he's the one that's in the hospital, and change that to, I need you to step up. I need you to be a presence in my life, a physical presence in my life, and I need you to come and help me actually do things and be around. I need you and your dad needs you, and when he comes home, we're gonna need other things at home. I've never had that conversation. I've never even thought of it because he might say no. Or actually his actions in the past have shown me he isn't interested. So, or at least that's how I interpret him. So he said that, and he said, sure, Mom, whatever you say, whatever you need, you let me know.
Wow.
And he said, I will be glad to. And he offered some suggestions, because really I didn't know what to tell him to do, you know, the doing this part. And I said, I will let you know when I think of things, and I've already started a list, and, because I don't want to forget, you know, and he already offered some things, you know, let me know about this. The sprinklers aren't working, send me the picture of it and I'll research it online. So he's like taking the initiative. And I'm just like, so ever since, and this was last, I don't know, a few days ago, I just have felt loved and not so lonely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Cool. Here, enrollment has a certain refreshing quality. Enrollment is like straight talk, and it enlivens people. It's refreshing to hear someone talk to you straight. How many people have had that conversation? Or the other kind of conversation where people you just would wish they would tell you. Give it to me straight. It has that quality. When you are enrolling with people, it's straight. It's like, there's a seminar leader, Brandon and I would know, who I'm going to not name, who would say it's crisp. It's like a certain crispness to it. It just makes it, it's like, yeah, refreshing is the word. So let me see what I didn't already say. Oh, you want to hear mine? Oh, yeah. Great. I'll tell you. Mine's not even as good as those, but here I go. So, a long while ago, actually, I owed my dad $1,000. And for like 3 years. Every time I saw my dad, he would say, hey, do you have that money you owe me? And I'd say, no, Dad, I don't have that money, sorry. Like, I'll get around to it. If I did, I would pay you back. And then I would go away with this story, like, dude, here I go to like hang out with my dad, and the one thing he wants to talk about is that I owe him money. Like, what a jerk. And then I would avoid him for like 3 or 4 months, and then I'd see him at my aunt's house for Easter. And I'd like sit next to him, how have you been? Oh, I've been good. Do you have that money you owe me? I forgot that you were going to bring that up. I forgot to avoid you, in other words. And I was just like really just cemented in. This guy is such a greedy, like money grubbing